to do just what he said he would do.
Welcome to Real Marriage, Real Talk with Pastors Ken and Beverly Jenkins. Stay tuned as they discuss important topics about marriage for couples who are married or those who are preparing for marriage. Now here are your hosts, Pastors Ken and Beverly Jenkins.
He's able.
Good morning. We're back, and we had a super time at the BIMR Marriage Revival. Friday, it was just an absolute tremendous time. It was phenomenal. If you missed it, we're going to do it again. We don't know when, but we are going to do that again. God just really showed up, and he really blessed a lot of marriages, blessed a lot of single people. It was just a phenomenal time. It was a God time, not just a good time. It was a God time. So you can make the next one. We're going to take a look at another topic this week, divorce and what that really means. But before we go into like what it really means, we are going to talk about why it is such an easy option today. So let's just say this to you, that people are not divorcing anymore because of the obvious reasons. Ken and I were discussing this, that they're not divorcing for infidelity, which used to be the biggest issue.
That's not the deal, Ken.
That's not the deal breaker anymore. It's not infidelity. Now we've got some new deal breakers that are actually, they seem trivial to us, but to most people now, it's horrendous to them. They're saying things like, I deserve to be happy. Some deal breakers are now that, well, my pastor divorced, so I should have the right to divorce. I'm not going to go through what my parents went through.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, speak to any one of those. What do you?
Yeah, I think one of the real big ones that we're seeing is the I deserve to be happy. That's a big one.
It's a big one.
And we hear that probably, we used to think that if somebody committed adultery, it's over.
Right.
I mean, people are kind of going, well, I can deal with that.
Right.
But when people are unhappy.
Now, isn't that interesting that people can deal with the idea of someone being unfaithful? And you would think that would make you unhappy.
Right.
But that's not making, well, maybe it is making them unhappy, but they don't really realize that is part of the unhappiness for some. Some.
Yeah, because, when we talk about it and you think about people feel like they deserve better.
Yeah,
and
that's
so,
really what they feel.
When it's a little tough, tribulations come, circumstances get a little bit more difficult. People say, I don't have to deal with this.
And all the added factors of family. I mean, you've got the added factors of children. And then this economy right now, we have job loss.
Yeah.
We got a lot of different stresses that have been added to the plate of family. And then let's not factor in the fact that perhaps there's blended family. There's all kind of opportunities for unhappiness.
For unhappiness,
to seep into anybody's
right
marriage.
But, think about the past. Our parents and our grandparents, they faced a lot of tough times. But they didn't base their relationship on whether or not they were real happy.
Right.
They dealt with a lot of things that we don't have to deal with today.
Right.
We've got more money. We've got better opportunities for education and jobs. There's a lot of things that should seem to make us happier.
Right.
But that's not what's going on right now. So many people are deciding to walk away from their marriages, even when they have small children, because they just can't bear to be unhappy anymore. And that's
it sounds bad. It sounds when I say bad, I mean it sounds trivial, but it really is a big deal to a lot of individuals who are married, even currently. I'm sure that there are people who are listening to us right now, and they're saying that I cannot find any joy in this relationship. I have no peace in this relationship.
Absolutely.
He or she makes me just
sick,
horribly sick.
Yeah. And what do you do when you get to that point? I mean, you get to that point where here's this person that you got to see every day.
Right.
You live together, and their very presence bothers you. I mean, we've been there.
That's
I mean, we've been in a situation where in our relationship, due to circumstances and things that were going on, just being in the same room.
Right. It was annoying.
Yeah, it was annoying. It was annoying for real. So then what has to happen? I think one of the things that we talk about is we have made Christianity this religion of being comfortable and happy
all the time.
And so when I'm not happy or when I'm not comfortable, then instead of enduring, which the example we see with Christ and the cross, we decide that no way, no how, I deserve better.
That's right.
I'm not going to deal with that. And that kind of ties into, well, you know, I'm not going through what I saw my parents go through. But the difference is most of our parents made it 30, 40,
That's
50,
right.
60 years. But we look at them and we go, well, we're not going to go through that. But they had a different kind of resolve. Their foundation was different.
Very different.
You know, they took these scriptures literally that, you know, these things that we suffer. I mean, in 2 Corinthians 4:17, it talks about our afflictions are light afflictions. When we start comparing them to this far more exceeding weight of glory, with the things that God is going to get out of our lives through going through. See, most of us wouldn't have even considered even being married if we wouldn't have seen our parents make it.
That's right.
Then think about the fact we wouldn't be here if they didn't make it.
That's right. But I mean, even the endurance factor, you mentioned that. And I think for most of us, I think the reason why marriages take the easy route is because we don't want to endure hardship like a good soldier.
Right.
You know, we don't want anything to come our way that is not making us, like you said, comfortable, or just okay with my life. You know, I always want to be better or feel good, you know, for the moment, but it doesn't work anything in me that causes me to be a better Christian or a better person if there's nothing to squeeze in me.
That's right.
And that's the purpose of marriage, is to make us holy.
Make us holy.
To make us better people.
Would you
That's the
tell-
reason why Christ came and allowed us to even be able to be in a marriage relationship, is so we can be better Christians. It's transforming you and conforming you and shaping you into the image of Christ, which is not an easy process on this flesh. It doesn't feel good to be shaped into anything, you know, especially reshaped.
Right. It's not comfortable.
No.
You know, and I think that's the point. You know, divorce has become such an easy option because the mindset of the church is that we want it comfortable. We want everything to come to us. We want blessings to fall out of
fall out of
heaven.
the sky.
But when we look at scripture, we don't see them living those kind of lives.
Press.
It was
It's
a
a
press.
fight.
It was
That's
always a fight. And they were pressing their way because it was a greater prize.
That's right.
It was a greater way to glory on the other side of this thing.
That's right.
And if you really look at it, and you think about the fact that because your parents pressed through
That's
in the 50s and 60s or whatever time frame they were here, or they were going through as young couples, their pressing through made a way for you.
That's right. But it also works to me in the mindset too that, see, listen, if you can't press through in your marriage, then you're not going to endure hardship in anything else. You're going to quit jobs easily. You're going to quit. You're going to quit everything. You're not going to allow your kids the space to understand that, you know, it's just like in our home. You can't quit anything. If you
That's right.
start it, you start
finish.
violin, you are playing violin until you are 80. You know.
Well, we cut back a little bit.
Yeah, we cut back a little bit. But until you decide, you have to make a decision to stick to something. To stick to something.
Yeah.
To have some endurance and to press through some things.
Yeah.
Until you get the results that are promised. There's nothing that is in this life that is going to come easy to us.
Nothing.
We have to press through in order to receive the prize.
Yeah.
And it says, I press towards the mark.
That's right.
That's a pushing. You know, it's not it's not something that's just handed to you.
It's not given to you.
It's not given to you.
It's pressing.
It's pressing.
Pressing. Well, you know, somebody came up to us one time. It was a compliment when we were sharing our testimony about the time where we contemplated divorce.
Right.
We talked about it and logically sat down and thought of the reasons why it wasn't working for us. And God began to move in our lives. And they said, I want to say thank you for not giving up, for not divorcing.
Right.
And, you know, you don't think that your relationship is that important, but you begin to think about how many other lives you're impacting because you make it. What about your children and your children's children? And one of the other issues in why it's so easy to do is because nobody frowns on it anymore.
Right.
You know, it's not even looked upon. You know, again, talking about our parents and grandparents, it was sort of taboo.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just socially accepted to where it is today. You can divorce, remarry, nobody says anything. Even in the church, leaders divorce, they have a new wife in a month. They just keep on going. It's not taboo anymore.
No.
You know, it's just nobody frowns on it. Nobody thinks that it's a bad thing. If you're not happy, divorce, find another spouse. It's kind of interchangeable.
That's right.
You know, the way
where does it stop? Because there's eventually going to come a space and time where even the next spouse is going to make you unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not living in a utopia, and we have a serious misunderstanding about. I think sometimes too we marry because we want a wedding, not because we want a marriage. And so there's a difference between a marriage and a wedding.
Absolutely. So marriage is pretty and it's kind of fun and
weddings,
and
yeah.
frou-frou. And
Right.
we like that
We
feel.
love that.
But marriage requires that you get involved.
That's right.
And that you commit to something.
Engage.
You got to engage and you got to have some resolve. And it's just one of those things where we've got to decide that we're going to stand on the truth of the scripture, because I agree with what you're saying, that if we cannot have endurance.
That's right.
In marriage, how are you going to endure if you get sick?
That's right.
How are you going to endure if your child goes astray?
That's
How are you
right.
going to endure if you run out of money financially?
That's
You know,
right.
how are you going to have some resolve? And so I think those are things that we got to really begin to look at.
That's right.
You know, marriage is an institution that God ordained.
That's right.
He put marriage together, and he decided that this thing it's an example of Christ in the church. And so we've got to make sure that our marriages are reflecting the kind of relationship that God has with man, or Christ with the church. But listen, we are running out of time, and I know it goes quick.
Right.
And so I want to share something with you very quick. We have a teaching that we want to let you know about. It's called The Mystery of Marriage. And it's available on our website. And it really deals with how to deal with some of these struggles. And it gives some insight on spiritual truths about how to empower yourselves to win through the gospel. And so we want you to go to the website, and we don't charge for these. We make them available for a donation of any amount. And so if you can go there, we would love to get that in your hands. Also, we want to hear from you. Please email us. Send us your questions or comments. Also go to Facebook and at BIMR. But we'd love to hear from you. We love you, and God bless you.
Just what he said he would do.
This has been Real Marriage, Real Talk with Pastors Ken and Beverly Jenkins. If you are married, engaged, or are single and looking to marry, you can email questions to Pastors Ken and Beverly, and they will do their best to answer them on the air in a future broadcast. Please email your questions and requests for CD copies of today's program to info@bimrworks.com. That's info@bimrworks.com, or by mail at Real Marriage, Real Talk, 3831 Vale Avenue. That's Vale, V-A-I-L-E Avenue, Box 24, Florissant, Missouri, 63034. You can also send gifts of support to that address. You may contact this ministry by phone at 314-838-6934, and be sure to visit their website at www.bimrworks.com. Thanks again for listening, and be sure to tune in every Tuesday and Thursday at 11:15 a.m. for Real Marriage, Real Talk with Pastors Ken and Beverly Jenkins.